Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Thursday evening Facebook Live. My name is Sarah Edwards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I come to you guys live every Tuesday and Thursday to show you a fun new project. So hopefully everybody has had a great day. I feel like I got a lot accomplished today, but I'm not 100% sure I did. I still haven't been able to put anything away from the retreat that was last week, and hopefully after I get done finishing one last big thing I have to get out in the mail tomorrow. Saturday I have Lucas for a couple hours. The kids are going to go to brunch. After that, hopefully I can get out here and get everything put away from the retreat. And on Tuesday, I will have all the pillow gifts to show you, all of the make and takes we did. And I still do have 5 of the everything, the pillow gifts, the make and takes. I still have 5 left. So if anybody wants any of them, go ahead and send me a message and I'll get all of that information to you. Hello, Jessica. Hello, Valerie. Good evening. So, good evening, Heather. I don't know if you heard, I think I got a lot accomplished today, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't get a nap in, so actually I didn't get much accomplished because I didn't get a nap. Naps are amazing. I love it when Lucas is over because we just take naps all day and it's spectacular. But anyway, hello, Susan. I have a super fun card for you. I really didn't know what the name of it was, so I just put triangles on the little description. I don't know what to call it, but hopefully you guys like it. And we're going to make 2 of them today. And I did different sizes, so it depends on how big your sentiment is on the size that you cut your paper. So I'm going to walk you guys through all of that. So let me flip you over, and good evening, Darlene. Let me flip you guys over so we can get started. So I am focusing on some of the Celebration Designer Series paper. I used a lot of this in my retreat, this past retreat, and everybody loved the paper, so I couldn't help but continue to play with it. So let's me flip over to the page that it's on. So it's on page 7, and it's a free pack of the 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. It's free with any $50 order. So this is what we're going to be playing with today. Hello, Teresa and Beverly. Hello. So all the paper is double-sided. I am missing 2 sheets out of this pack because I used them all. I used that specific sheet, all of them. Absolutely gorgeous. It matches the Reigns of Love stamp set and dies. And this one is so beautiful. I've seen a lot of this with the little hippos that are in the celebration as well. And these 2 match absolutely beautifully. So maybe we'll do something with that for one of next week's lives. So this is the Designer Series paper that's free. Let me show you the card we're going to be making. So we're going to be making this one first. I really needed a, like sending healing thoughts. Not that I need to specifically send this out right away, but I don't have very many sending healing thoughts. May nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. I just thought this was a perfect sentiment, and I wanted something that was skinny and longer for this card. And then the second card we're going to be making is going to be one that has a little bit wider of a sentiment. So I cut the Designer Series paper a smidgen smaller to be able to get a larger sentiment on the inside. But they're the exact same, but just a little bit different measurements. So I'm going to go over, we're going to make this one first. The stamp set for this one is Nature's Harvest, and this is the one we're going to be using. You could really use any one of these. You just need to make sure that it will fit inside the little gap. Okay, let's get started. Let me prop this up just so I have it for measurements. So I have a piece of our basic white, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it right in half at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to fold that and give that a good crease. Set that aside, and this piece is 3 3/4 by 5, and this Designer Series paper is 3.5. I literally just lost it. My brain went kaput. 3.5 by 4 3/4. It's literally 1/4 of an inch smaller, but I could not think of the measurements in my head. So usually when we layer something, this is how we cut it to layer. but we're going to do one step prior to that. I want to bring in my trimmer, and we are going to cut the designer series paper. So I'm going to put the edges, hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'm going to put both of the corner edge pieces in the cutting guideline. And I'm literally going to cut this in half. Well, kind of half. We're going to do the same thing to our cardstock. So remember that the cardstock in the designer series paper is 1/4 of an inch smaller. So that means we're going to have that nice border once we glue these pieces together. So it's just like that. So first, we're going to go ahead and glue these pieces together. You can use your favorite adhesive. It doesn't have to be anything specific. I prefer Tombow. It gives me a tiny bit of wiggle room. So we're going to lay that down. And as I say that, it's not going to want to move and get lined up perfectly. But it actually did. So there's that piece. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this piece together. Or this side together, I mean. So now we have the really pretty layered effect of our card base. Okay, so that is step number 2 and 3. So now we're going to bring in our card base, and I just want to kind of play with this a minute to see exactly how far I need for my sentiment to go in the center. And you guys are probably stressed out on stamping on your card base, but I will tell you, it's just paper. I messed up once. I didn't press quite hard enough, and I just got another piece of paper. I wasn't irritated or annoyed. It's just paper. So I am going to put just a smidgen of a border around my card, and I just have a piece of sticky tape that I'm going to hold that down with. And I'm going to grab another piece. It's actually Post-it notes tape, but it comes off really, really nice. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side, and I'm just going to tack that down. So now I know my sentiment needs to go right in the center. So I'm going to bring in the Poppy Parade, and I'm going to ink up Sending Healing Thoughts. May nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. I need to read it and not just guess what it says. Okay, so I inked this up. So now I'm going to come over here. Hopefully I can get it in the center because my camera is right in the way, but we will see. We're going to stamp this. Cross your fingers. It worked earlier. Oh, that's actually not too bad. I could have pressed a little bit harder on both ends to get it a little bit brighter, but I'm happy with it. It is not bad for having a camera in your face. Okay, so I'm going to peel these off. I'm going to save those because I might use them for the next card. So now what we can do is go ahead and glue this down. And I should have brought a couple extra pieces of cardstock over just in case I did mess up, but I didn't think about it till just now. So there's that piece. And then we're going to attach this one. It's a super easy card. It just takes a little bit of brain power to get it lined up perfectly. There's that side. So our card is almost done. I felt it was a tiny bit naked still, so I brought in some of our gems. And I like these gems because they're super thick. And I didn't use anything with dimensionals, so I don't mind putting a thicker gem on a card if I'm not using dimensionals. But I didn't want them clear, so I brought in my Poppy Parade Dark blending pen, and I'm just going to color a couple of these. I'm actually going to color 4 because we're going to do 2 on the other card as well. And I did it one time, and then I kind of let it dry for a quick second, and I'm just going to go over it a second time just to make it a little bit darker. We're only going to use 2, but we're going to do 2 on the other card as well. Take your pick tool, and we're just going to put a little gem on each side. So it really doesn't matter what color your gems are. You can make them whatever color you need. So there you go. It's a super easy and quick card, and it's super beautiful. I love the way these turned out. Okay, so let me bring in this card. So this one is, I used the Go Green set, and I picked this Happy Birthday at the bottom. These ones were super big. Let me open up this stamp. These ones were super large, which I love the sentiment on it, but I wanted to showcase the designer series paper as well. So that's why I picked a little bit smaller of a one, but still bigger than our first one. So this cardstock, the cardstock is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and that means our designer series paper is 3 1/4 by 4.5. For some reason, my brain is not working, but it does layer up perfectly. So it's 1/4 of an inch on all sides. So let's bring our trimmer back in, and we're going to do the same exact thing. We are going to line up corner to corner, and if you accidentally cut this corner to this corner, it's just going to be opposite. It's going to be turned. Your triangles will be on the opposite side. So that's why I try to go to the right side of the corners, if that makes sense. Hopefully I just didn't confuse you even more. Well, good to know your brain never works, Jennifer. Mine is definitely not working tonight. Okay, so our cardstock, we're going to do the same exact way. We are going to trim that corner to corner. And let's go ahead and layer these guys together. So in my first card, the dimensions I put in before I went live. That was to do this smaller gap. If you want a larger gap, you will have to do, watch the replay, because I didn't want to confuse you guys too much by putting so many measurements in the description. But your card base is 3.5 by 4 3/4. So that means your designer series paper is 1/4 of an inch smaller at 3 1/4 by 4.5. And you can make it even smaller if your sentiment is bigger. So just keep going down 1/4 of an inch, depending on your size of your sentiment. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. Okay, there we go. Let's bring in our card base, and it's the same 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. And now we are going to line these guys up, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to line it up kind of close to the edge. I just want a little bit of the white poking out. I'm going to put a piece of Post-it tape on there to hold that. Then I'm going to come up here and do the same thing. There we go. Let's grab our Happy Birthday. We're going to make sure it fits in there, and it does perfectly. Open up the Poppy Parade. Ink it up. I actually just re-inked my Poppy Parade, and I think I inked it up a little bit too much. I need to grab a piece of scratch paper just to stamp this on to see if it's going to smear. Oh no, it didn't. It looks like it was. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp this right in the center. There we go. Haha, it worked again. Oh, it's a sigh of relief when it works, especially on Facebook Live. Okay, so now I can scoot these in a tiny bit more to have a bigger gap around the edge. So we're going to put some adhesive on the back. And I'm just going to scoot this up just a hair. Just so it kind of makes that Happy Birthday pop. You. Oops, that one got a little too close. There we go. Thank you, Jennifer, for saying that. I love doing Facebook Lives and I love making cards. I can't show you what I made today, but they are pretty spectacular. I cannot wait to show you guys. So I'm going to put the gems on the edge. And you could definitely put more gems if you wanted to. I just thought it was a little naked without the gems. So I wanted something just little in there. So there you go. There is your two. I don't know if I would consider this a fun fold, but it is kind of a fancy technique. It's definitely a technique card. So there's those two with the happy birthday. And then here's these two that are thinking of you, healing thoughts, all using the same designer series paper, using the same technique, just cutting it a little bit smaller to get two different sentiments in there. Hopefully you guys liked tonight's cards. Oh, you guys really can't, it's not in the camera. I apologize. I just looked over and realized it wasn't. So that was your live for tonight. Not too shabby. I didn't keep you guys way too long. I did, if you're not on my email list, I did send out the October retreat information today. I did it a few hours ago. If you haven't gotten that, definitely send me a message so I can resend it to you. I also linked in tonight's live, I did put a link in there so you can click on that to get more information for the fall October retreats. Okay, I will be back on Tuesday for another fun project. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out. I do have to be up at 2:30 in the morning to take my kids to the airport, so I will be up as of 2:30 Arizona time. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and have a question, feel free to text me because I'll probably be awake. Okay, we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good evening, and I'll see everybody on Tuesday. Bye-bye.